no. Still. In 2 minutes' time, I'm about to crash. Obviously, I don't know that, and I'm not thinking about crashing. However, what is going through my head is, thank God the route has smoothed out, as I'm exhausted. My hands and feet are numb. I'm not sure if they're numb, if it's because the 16,000 feet altitude where I'm breathing in 50% oxygen, or if it is the corrugations that have shaken my fillings out. I'm not joking. I spat out bits of my teeth.
Fuck me.
Before I show you the crash, let me give you some context. I am many kilometers from help. I'm in my second of a 2-day, 500 kilometer journey from the Atacama Desert in Chile towards the salt flats in Uyuni, Bolivia. I've taken a very difficult route, sometimes known as Laguna route. Before I started this journey, I was filling up with petrol in San Pedro de Atacama and also buying a fuel can because over the 500 kilometer journey, there is nowhere to stop for fuel. At the petrol station, I met a man from Chile. He was riding a CF Moto 450 MT. We had a nice conversation. We discussed the Cove and the CF Moto and our travels through South America. However, the tone of the conversation changed when I told him the route I was planning on taking the next day. He told me he had done this route with a group 7 years ago. He said it was very difficult and to do this solo on the Cove is very risky. He told me the only traffic on that route are those safari style jeeps with special tires. And he said even those crash regularly and many tourists get injured. He explained the jeeps go very fast to smooth out the corrugations and they sometimes lose control and roll. He then went on and warned me about the altitude sickness and how lethal that can be for a solo rider. He continued and said Bolivia is in a political crisis, the country is not stable, and there are massive fuel shortages, and they don't give fuel to tourists. He basically spent about 15 minutes advising me not to do this. I was now super unsure if I wanted to take this on, as I hadn't known anything about all of this. I left the petrol station and returned back to the place I was staying at. For the next few hours, I kept changing my mind if I wanted to do this or if it was mental. The border is 1 hour away, so if I was going to go for it, I would have to be there before 8 a.m, as that is when the border opens and you need to be there to beat the queues, or else you waste precious daylight hours and run the risk of running out of daylight before reaching the first overnight stopping point. I was now leaning towards not doing this. So I decided the night before, I'm not going to set an alarm. And if I don't wake up by 6 a.m, I am not doing it. So I fell asleep, and with no alarm going off, I blinked my eyes open, looked at my phone, and it was exactly 6 a.m. The first thought that came to my mind was, fuck's sake. And the second thought was, fuck it. And I started to pack my stuff and get the bike ready. I set off and I immediately noticed how heavy the bike felt with the full tank and the spare fuel. It's the heaviest the bike has been on this journey, and now entering into the most difficult part of my journey. After an hour, I got to the border and all I saw was vans. That put me at ease, and I thought, if the vans can do it, then I can definitely do it. Unfortunately, that would not turn out to be the case, as I found out those vans were just transporting the tourists to those specially set up jeeps for the crossings. As I waited for the border to open, 2 Brazilian GS riders who were taking the main route around to Uyuni had gotten into trouble just outside the border. They had a puncture and asked to borrow my pump to help them buy time to pump it up and to get them to the next town before it's low again. I gave it to them and stayed with my bike so I didn't lose my place in the queue. While they were working on their bike, one thing I was starting to notice was how out of breath I was. At the border, I was at an altitude of 8,000 feet and I was feeling it. However, during the route, it rises to 16,000 feet. At 16,000 feet, you have half the oxygen per breath. That also means the motorbike is way down on power also. As I was feeling the tingles in my fingers, wondering if it's nerves or oxygen, the 2 Brazilian riders came back with my pump and said it's broken. I said, "Are you joking me?" Before I had time to think, the border guards called me up. I said to the Brazilian lads, "That's the right fucking job, isn't it?" while staring at the broken pump. The 3 of us just started laughing and I set off down the ramp with the bike. I started filling out the forms in front of the border guard. He asked me how many am I making the crossing with, and I said solo. He looked at me, looked at the bike, and then looked back down at the forms and said to himself, solo, and stamped my forms. It unsettled me the way he said that. After he stamped and gave me the last form, the border guard looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "Buen viaje." He didn't say that to the people before me in the queue. The sand was thick at the start. My priorities were to get around the corner in one piece so the tourists don't see me bin it after 30 seconds. After I rounded the corner, the concern of now having no pump worried me. That didn't last too long, as the next thing I realised, Google Maps was not picking up the roads. It didn't take me long to realise, as the roads must keep changing, as after all it is a desert, and one storm changes how things look. So going forward, Google Maps was now more of a general direction navigation system. I wondered if the Garmin sat-nav worked better, and it chose that time to break and no longer work on this trip. That Garmin sat-nav is the most disappointing thing I had brought on this trip. It has a terrible interface, low quality, expensive maps, and to top it off, fragile. Little did I know that over the next 2 days I was going to be getting directions by drawing in the sand to help me navigate to Uyuni. I was also showed the stars to follow. More on that later. So, my new plan. I know the general direction from Google Maps. I also know there was about 15 to 20 jeeps making the crossing also. So my plan was stay fast to keep in front of the jeeps. So if I got lost or have issues, I can get the jeeps driver's assistance that are behind me. The Chilean CF Moto rider told me that the jeeps went fast to smooth out the corrugations, but I didn't realize how fast. For sure, some of those jeeps were doing over 120 kilometers an hour on the sand. And that's obviously why so many of them roll and crash with the tourists in them. So when I'm sitting at about 80 kilometers an hour, squeezing the motorbike with my legs, they shoot past at about 120, and I can only keep with their dust cloud in sight for about 10 minutes. Each Jeep that passed me was one less Jeep that could assist if I had an issue. The corrugations were so rough. To show you just how unpleasant this was and the abuse the bike took, here's what it was like.
Fuck me. No. Stop.
I made the first checkpoint. It was like a ghost town. It's a place you had to knock on doors to find a room. Some places, well, most of the places, bar one, there was no one in them.
Oh my god. I'm fucked. Sand is fucking exhausting, man. Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't even fucking close my hands. Hola. 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 ¿A hostel? Sí. ¿Posible para un? ¿Uno? Sí.
Tengo todas. Sí, perfecto, soda. Okay. Entonces tú, ¿me lo saco un vasito, por favor?
They had electricity for 2 hours a day, no running water or heating, just blankets for the minus 10 degrees Celsius night temperature. I got sorted with the room, and it is there more of the Jeep tourists arrived. I talked with the drivers and they shared some screenshots of maps and the stars to follow to bring me towards Uyuni if I ran out of daylight the next day. I topped up the bike, had some food and slept like a log. Now, back to the crash. It's the next day, I'm a few hours into it. It has been rough with corrugations. I'm already pretty tired. I've just hit a section where it has smoothed out. No sand or corrugations, just hard rock, and it feels nice. So I've kind of relaxed a bit. It's also a bit more scenic, so I've lifted my tinted visor to have a look around. And while my eyes are adjusting, the following unfolds.
Oh shit! Oh. Oh. Didn't see the sand. I can't get up. Hi. Important thing is I'm not injured. How is the bike that? My elbow's sore. Fuck it there, man. So much weight in that. Alright. I can't fucking. I'm so exhausted. The airbag didn't go off. Does this thing fucking work? Handlebars are definitely bent anyway. Bad. But will it still go? Will you start? Ah. Wait, the handlebars aren't bent. Just the handguard. Like you can see how deep it went in. I think it's that loose. That bike way is a fucking trooper. My boots are filled with sand. Wait till I catch this in camera. Is the camera turned on? I have to sit down for a sec. The altitude and crashing is tough work. This took the beating. It's the camera on. It's on. So it's totally worth it. If I wasn't wearing this armour, I might have a broken elbow because it's sore, but it's right over where the armour was. I'm never selling this bike anyway. My boots are filled with sand. Lovely spot to crash though. Hola.
¿Qué tal, amigo? Buen día.
Buen día.
¿Cómo está?
La ruta difícil. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿usted?
Muy bien. Música. Una hora para Uyuni.
1 hora para Villamar.
O pijama, ok.
Sí, a Villamar.
¿Y para Uyuni?
Para Uyuni es 5.
5 horas.
Sí,
Oh, mucho.
sí, mucho.
Culpina qué?
Culpina, desde 3 horas.
3?
Sí.
Ok. Voy para Culpina qué eso.
¿Tiene el ticket?
Sí.
Interesante tu casco.
¿Me casco?
Sí.
Sí, música.
Música.
Música. It's tranquilo. La roja tiqueta, sí.
Sí. ¿Qué significa?
Para mi ropa, rain.
Ah,
Sí, sí. Gracias.
tiene un recuerdo del Parque Nacional.
This is National Park ahora?
Sí, recuerdo del Parque Nacional
Ah.
de Guardabaroa, de los flamencos,
Ah,
árbol de piedra.
ok. Un momento. La ruta. On the 701, 701. ¿Dónde la ruta? ¿Aquí?
La ruta por eso no... pues
¿Tú,
aquí
tú,
está
tú tienes un map?
el mapa del parque para que no viene. A ver un momento. Acá.
Gracias. My satellite broke. I've no
Yes.
map. Sin map. Gone. So,
Acá,
voy para Uyuni y la ruta,
Pero este camino no se hace grande.
todo esto es, amigo, todo esto. para
Sí,
abajo.
la ruta
todo,
sí.
todo,
Okay.
No derecha, no izquierda.
perfecto. Para Uyuni.
Uyuni.
Villamar,
Villamar,
Villa Alota, de Villa Alota, San Cristóbal.
San Cristóbal, sí.
Uyuni.
3 horas.
Uyuni, Villamar, San Cristóbal, Alota. Uyuni, Villamar. Este es Avaroa, Bolivia, Chile. ¿Ya? Aquí estás.
Ajá. So, the 701, derecha.
Yes. Villamar, derecha.
Perfecto.
Cristóbal,
Balota.
Perfecto.
Driving into a twister. Wow.
days are fucked. But yeah, pretty happy. It was 2 days of extreme off-road and one crash. And I'll take that because it was absolutely awesome, the whole thing. I didn't see any other bikers on it, just Jeeps. So I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy how I got on, and how, especially how the bike got on. The bike's amazing. Yeah, I'm so tired now I can't even talk, but yeah, I'm very happy, man.